Hello, welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we'll review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching Grown Ups.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, don't want it to be spoiled,
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
okay. Grown Ups came out in 2010 with a runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. It's streaming on Hulu. It was written by Adam Sandler and Fred Wolf, and directed by Dennis Dugan.
It was written by Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I think he writes a lot of his movies. So.
Oh, I thought he was just an actor.
No, he's kind of like the production company for all of it.
Oh.
He's kind of like the guy in charge. And if you start watching more of his movies, all those characters, all those actors are in each one of his movies. They're like all over the place.
Kind of like Christopher Nolan, how all his actors are like the same.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. Yeah. The main stars are Adam Sandler, Salma Hayek, and Kevin James.
Who is Salma Hayek?
The wife, Roxanne.
Okay.
Fun facts. There was a direct sequel to the movie in 2013. And then after the movie was finished, Adam Sandler bought each one of his major cast members a Maserati car. Why wasn't I in on this movie? I want to get a Maserati. That's my dream car. So, Maserati, if you're willing to sponsor us, just give us a call. Well, email us at papiapprovemovies@gmail.com.
At papiapprovemovies on email.com.
All right. So, what do you think, Nat?
Well, I thought it was a really funny movie.
Okay.
I was laughing a lot. But I thought some of the stuff was like, the jokes were kind of like rude.
Rude, okay.
Or maybe not rude, but like kind of insensitive. Like maybe those jokes wouldn't be made today kind of thing.
Sure.
But overall, I thought it was really funny. And I gave it a 4.5 stars.
4.5 stars? There you go. So you don't like sci-fi action. You don't like action in general. You're more of a comedy / emotional type heartbreaker kind of moviegoer, huh?
Mm-hmm. Those are my two moods.
You only have two moods?
Yes.
Happy and crying.
Yeah.
Those are your two. Okay. All right. This is a really funny movie. We're gonna watch the second one sometime this summer, but not for the pod, just for fun. But it's a funny movie. I really like the second one more, I think. But I wanted to watch the first one and do the pod on the first one because you get introduced to all the characters and it's kind of funny. So
yeah. Why don't we get into the recap?
All right. The movie begins in 1979. Was a CYO basketball championship game. The game ends with one of the kids, Lenny, shooting a winning three-pointer.
I noticed that all the players were wearing Converse, and I was like, "Is that a basketball? Did that used to be a basketball shoe?"
Yeah, those were basketball shoes back in the day.
Oh, because they're high tops. Right?
Yeah. So Chuck, what is it?
Chuck Taylor.
Chuck Taylor was a basketball player.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. And all those shoes, they didn't have low tops. They only had high tops.
And now they're like different.
When I was little, I had Chucks. They weren't as expensive as they are now. That's funny. I have Chucks now, but I don't have high tops. And we wouldn't play basketball because we weren't that good. You were just playing in the park, you know?
Uh-huh.
So we would play basketball in any shoes. But our Chucks would be the ones that we'd be wearing.
Yeah.
Everyone on the team had one on?
Yeah, I think everyone on the court had a pair of Chucks. Maybe it was sponsored.
Maybe they were sponsoring the movie, yeah. The winning team's coach, Coach Buzzer, gives a nice speech, and they all celebrate together in a party. Flash forward 30 years, and we see Lenny and his wife, Roxanne. He's now the biggest agent in Hollywood. He has a daughter and 2 sons who are total spoiled brats.
Cameron Boyce was in it.
Who is it?
Cameron Boyce. So there's like High School Musicals for 2000s, right? But my age is Descendants, so Cameron Boyce is like a big actor for us.
Oh, one of the characters from The Descendants?
Yeah.
He's one of the little boys.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was shocked because he looks like exactly the same, his face.
He's just younger?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The boys even yell, so these kids are brats. They even yell at the nanny when she brings them hot chocolate, and it's not the Godiva brand.
Whoa.
I know. High class. Lenny gets a message that his old coach, Coach Buzzer, has passed away. Then we see Lenny's 4 teammates back from 1979 get the news about Coach Butters' passing. First, Eric finds out, and he destroys his above-water pool with his family.
It looked like a water slide after he broke it.
Yeah.
My favorite part was the mom was like, "Stay on the floaty!" And it's just like this little boy like floating around down the like water in his like duck floaty. And he's like totally freaking out, but he's just sitting there like unbothered.
Drown. The water's going to come out.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere to go.
It was so funny that she was freaking out and he was just like sitting on his floaty going down like the mini slide.
Then Kurt, who's a stay-at-home husband and lives with his mother-in-law, finds out. Then Rob and his much older wife Gloria find out. And lastly, Marcus, a playboy type, finds out. Everybody is sad about Coach Butters' passing. The 5 teammates meet up in their hometown of New England to go to Coach Butters' funeral.
I was shocked when all their kids were there.
Huh?
I was shocked that they brought all their kids.
I know, right? Usually you don't bring, if someone passes away,
and especially since the kids didn't know him at all.
To be honest, I think everyone lives in that town still, except for Lenny.
Oh. And so they would, like, maybe know him?
Yeah. No, they all know Lenny. I'm saying, like, Lenny moved away. He's in Hollywood, right? He's like a rich Beverly Hills guy now. But I think everybody of that team still lives in that neighborhood.
Yeah, so I'm saying the kids might know Coach Buzzer.
Yeah, they actually might even be on his team, right? He might still be coaching for all we know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, once they get to the funeral, the teasing begins immediately. Kurt gets razzed for being a stay-at-home dad and husband. Eric gets made fun of for his weight. Rob, they make fun of him for having an older wife. Marcus for being an idiot. And Lenny for being a rich Hollywood type. He tells everyone Rita, who happens to be the nanny, is an exchange student, so they would stop making fun of him. In this movie, actually, they tease throughout the whole movie. They are relentlessly mean to each other.
And I don't even think it's just, like, the guys. Like, all the family are doing that. Their wives and, like, the grandma.
The wives don't make fun of each other.
Not of each other, but they make fun of, like, other guys.
At the funeral, Coach Buzzer leaves a note asking Lenny to do the eulogy. Lenny does a good job.
Eulogy's just, like, him talking?
Yeah. Just, like, saying nice words after someone's passed away.
Okay.
He does a good job reliving their glory days on the court. Then Rom goes up and sings Ave Maria while everyone busts up laughing.
That's like a meme.
What is?
It's of them like someone's doing something and they're all like laughing and the guy gives them the $20.
Oh, yeah.
Like they always have memes where it's like when our teacher is yelling at us and we're trying our hardest not to laugh and stuff like that.
And then they show this movie?
Yeah, this scene from the movie.
At the reception, the insults and roasts don't stop. They make fun of Eric's wife, Sally, for still breastfeeding their 4-year-old. And it's funny because they're like, how old is he again? He's like 48 months. Like you say that when they're babies, you say how many months they are.
Yeah.
But by saying that, it's kind of like saying, he's still a baby. And then they're like, that's 4 years. What are you talking about? I thought that part was funny. After the funeral, they all meet up at a huge lake house. Lenny rented it for the weekend. He could only stay for the night because Roxanne has to be in Fashion Week in Milan for her work. At the lake house, the crew all hang out and see that their children are all inside on technology. They complain about their children, especially Lenny, whose kids are total spoiled brats.
I do like how throughout the course of the movie, they became like a little less spoiled.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because like some kids are like spoiled and they're just like spoiled, but they were kind of bratty. Like they were kind of rude.
Yeah, they were rude and kind of stuck up and
thought
they were better than other people.
But I think by the end, they were, like, kinder to everyone.
I think so, too. They got along with the kids. I don't think it was the kids that bothered them. I think it was, like, the dad and the mom, you know?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to be there. They wanted to be in Milan. That's where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of, not you guys, but a lot of kids. They don't want to be outside. They don't want to go outside. They just want to chill out, be on their devices, and be left alone. So
that's true.
Yeah. That's why I try to take you guys hiking, but some people don't like it, huh, Natalie?
There are bears there.
There's no bears where we're going. The crew decided to take away the tech and take the kids on a hike in the woods, where they see a rope used to swing into the lake. Eric goes for it, but he holds on too long and crashes hard onto the ground, almost killing a baby bird. Would you do that? Would you use a rope and then swing into the lake?
No, they're like on a cliff. Maybe if it was closer, like actually near the lake.
It is
They
next
were-
to the lake.
No, because the whole point he didn't jump was like, wait, this is so high. Like,
No,
this
he
is
didn't
so
let
high.
go. If he would have let go, he would have been in the water.
He said too far.
No, he went and then he didn't let go and then he came back and that's how he fell.
Oh, I thought it was like too far from the lake. Like he misjudged it, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let go because I'm just gonna hurt myself."
They just chickened out. He was going and then he's like, oh, and then he came back and then that's where he smashed himself. That's funny because he felt really hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That night, everyone goes to dinner. They all get burgers and Lenny's kids order Voss water. They're made fun of badly. Bailey, the cook at the restaurant, is angry with Lenny. Bailey was on the opposing team in 1975. He thinks that Lenny stepped on the line on the final shot and shouldn't have counted. He challenges Lenny to a rematch, but Lenny just teases him and says no. I actually think he might have stepped on the line. Did you see the beginning scene? He might have actually stepped on the line.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. It's not his fault he didn't get it called, but yeah. Maybe the guy has a point, right? They would have lost the game. The next morning, Lenny gets ready to leave, and his friends want him to stay to help spread Coach Brothers' ashes. Roxanne feels bad and says he can go to the ceremony, and then they can leave the next morning, much to the dislike of his sons who hate it in the wild and want to go to Milan. Lenny wants his kids to have fun so badly, and it's just not in them. They don't even know what to do when they pick up a rock.
He's like, just skip it. There you go.
Hit your sister, I don't care, just do something with it, right?
Yeah.
The team leaves in canoes to McIntyre Island, where Coach wants his ashes spread. The razzing continues, but they also talk about their feelings. Rob talks about how he has messed up his family, and he's been a bad dad to his daughters. They try to cheer him up, and he tells them his daughters are coming to the lake, so he can patch things up with them. They spread Coach's ashes and eat fried chicken. That was kind of a nasty scene, right?
Yeah.
He spread the ashes, and then he grabbed the chicken with the ashes.
No,
And then he's like,
cannibalism.
I'm hungry, I don't care, I'm going to eat it anyway. So.
Cannibalism.
When the team gets back to the lake house, Rob's daughters show up. Everyone is shocked to see them. The first two are like supermodels, very tall and beautiful. They look nothing like Rob. Then the third daughter comes, and she looks a lot more like him, with a funny haircut. Lenny and Kurt's sons are constantly checking the girls out, and so are their dads. Inappropriate!
Inappropriate!
You're like, what's wrong with these guys? They're his best friends, right?
Yeah.
They're like taking turns checking out his daughters. Like, how inappropriate is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they even made a joke about it where they're like, we can't all look at one time. Let's alternate looking at the girls. And that's all they were doing was checking out the girls, right?
Yeah.
So, just ridiculous. If my best friends were checking you guys out, I'd be like, I don't think we're best friends anymore.
And he was always mad too, so it made sense.
Yeah, he was great. He didn't like it, right? Like, they teased him about it too, like,
yeah.
How is that your daughter? The team plays arrow roulette, and Rob gets shot in the foot. He snaps at Gloria, and Roxanne is getting anxious and wants to leave when her daughter comes and tells her about losing a tooth. Roxanne snaps at her and feels terrible and realizes her job isn't everything. The kids do begin to start having fun playing with each other and not on their devices anymore.
Yeah, that's cool. Although I don't really know what changed, like all of a sudden.
I guess they never had their devices. They had to figure something out.
Yeah. But it was kind of, maybe there was more of a progression, I think, when he was like outside, and that was kind of like the turning point when he picked up the rock and then did nothing.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden they're like all having fun.
Well, if you think about it, they left in the morning to the McIntyre Island, and that was that night. So they had a whole day
to figure things out.
Right? We don't see the kids because the story isn't really about the kids.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't, And so they leave, and the kids are like at a lake house. I mean, they're going to end up finding fun to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And either go in the woods or go swimming in the lake or just goof around with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That lake house is beautiful. It's huge, right? It fit all the people. It's a big family, so.
And there was like rooms for like each couple, and then they had like the giant room for the kids.
Yeah, the room, yeah. And that was fun because they all got to play with each other.
Yeah,
right.
and then like in the scene where they have like the cup phones, and they're like all able to talk to each other.
We went to a lake house. It wasn't a lake. It was in Yosemite. We went to like a little cabin with your cousins, and then you guys had a good time, right?
Yeah.
think you guys all shared one room as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a room with like 5 beds. It was like on the top layer.
Yeah.
Like you climbed the ladder and then you got up to there.
Yeah, bunk beds and stuff.
Like a loft. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
It was like a loft with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. That was fun. I remember you guys had a good time. The next morning, the kids are all in the lake, skipping stones, and Roxanne decides she wants to stay longer, now that she sees the kids are having a good time. That day, they all decide to go to the water park. At the water park, everyone has a blast. The crew have fun on water slides, and the wives enjoy checking out a buff guy who flexes at them. At a scary ride, Lenny's son, Greg, confronts his fears and goes down the ride. Bailey and his crew are there as well, and always want to start something. They always want to fight.
The whole time during that scene, I was thinking, like, what if you were just a stupid kid and you just didn't let go? Like, what would happen? You would just run into the thing?
Well, we saw what happened.
And then he did.
Yeah, so one of Bailey's buddies, another player on the team that they beat, now he's an adult, he ended up falling off one of the slides or one of the rides and hurt himself. He's like a full body cast, right?
Yeah.
That guy's I think that guy's in every one of Adam Sandler's movie.
Oh.
Yeah, he's really funny. So.
But I was like, the whole time I was thinking, like, there's probably some stupid kid that's like holding on and he's like, oh, maybe I should have dropped. Maybe I should drop. Oh, and then they just forget to drop, like let go. And then they just like slam into a wall and die.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I didn't think so much about that. So it's what it is. It's like a zip line. But you have to hold on to it. It's not connected to you.
What if you just fall?
What if you fall right in the beginning? Like you start going and then you fall before you even get to the pool.
Yes.
No.
These are very
dangerous. Yes.
And there was like nothing on the other side to stop you if you didn't drop. Like you
there
were
was
just
the
wall.
Yeah. Yeah. You get stopped.
You think
eventually.
there'd be like 2 posts on each side that like have the string. And
well,
then
it would end and it just drops you at the bottom, or it stops at the end above the pool.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it makes sense. Back at the lake house, Lenny begins to teach Greg how to shoot a basketball.
The lake house also has a basketball court.
I mean, that place is pretty amazing. It'd be cool if we went with all our family too. It'd be pretty fun. Lenny never misses a bank shot and wants his son to learn. He gets pretty good. That night, all the parents had a great time and danced with each other. Very romantic. Marcus gets drunk, and they torture him for it. The next morning, Roxanne finds out that Lenny had canceled their Milan trip way before she agreed to stay. And she's furious. He apologizes, and she forgives him because his intentions were to bring his family together. Everyone starts to tell their own truths and are accepted for it. They all have a nice moment, and they all go into town for a barbecue.
I do think it was messed up, though, that he didn't tell her at all.
Yeah, big time.
Especially since that's part of her job and something that's like highly anticipated.
Yeah. Yeah, he pretty much said, your job's not as important as us coming together as a family. And his intentions were good, right? The beginning, he saw his boys being brats. And he was like, how do I live my life like this? What am I doing wrong? I'm a terrible dad. And he wanted to fix that somehow. And then the chance to go to the lake house came up. And I think that was his move, but he should have talked to her about it, of course.
Yeah. Because imagine she ended up being like, oh, we're going to Milan still. And then him being like, actually, you're not.
Well, no, she would have to then it would have been really bad. Because then she would have to rebuy tickets and all that stuff. And she forgave him quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she was upset. He explained himself. He apologized. And then she's like, okay, I love you. I understand why you did it. You know? Wow, that's not life, usually. Your spouse will get mad that you made plans behind their back. At the town barbecue, everyone is having a great time, and Bailey and his team challenge the crew again for a basketball game. Finally, the team relents and they play each other. Most of the team is in terrible shape and plays very badly. Towards the end of the game, people start to fake injuries to quit. To finish the game, it became a 2-on-2 match with Lenny and Greg versus Bailey and his son. Lenny eventually throws the game to let Bailey have a win and teach his son a lesson about kindness and humility. That night there were fireworks and everyone was happy. Then Marcus decides to play arrow roulette and the crowd disperses. The end. Arrow roulette is a stupid game.
Yeah.
You
can only get hurt.
You can only get hurt or die.
Yeah.
That arrow comes down in your face and your eye and your head, you know what I'm saying? And your neck. Just a bad idea. Bad idea all around. And why would you do it in a crowd of like hundreds of people who were just hanging out?
Yeah.
Were they watching a movie? Is that what they were doing?
They were watching fireworks.
Oh, they were watching fireworks. That's right. All right. Could this movie be made today?
I think the premise could be made, but I feel like a lot of their jokes might not be.
All right. Talk about that.
At first, when Kurt was introduced, they had the gender roles kind of switched, right? Which I thought was like, that's cool, right? But then it was a joke.
Right. He was teased for that.
Yeah. And the whole joke was that, like, they were just calling him like a woman. It was like, even though she's doing all this work, like, it's like a joking matter.
Sure. I agreed.
The grandma's calling him a woman, and then I think she made a joke where he was like angry, and then the grandma was like, must be his time of the month.
She made that joke about him?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so it was like kind of just making fun of like
saying that his job is a woman's job.
Yeah, and that it's just like unimportant. It's not a lot of work, and that like it's something to be made fun of.
No, I don't think it's so much the job. It's more about the man doing the job.
And I think it's also the thing of like, oh, you're like a joke because your wife is doing all the work for you.
Yeah, it's making the money. Yeah, definitely.
And
so
I think that's like
step one, misogyny on all Kurt's problems. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, what else?
The whole married men staring at the daughter's butts.
Their butts. Yeah, I mean, they were staring at him the whole time. Yeah. Very inappropriate.
One joke I do think would not be in today, though, was one of the guys said, like, oh, I never have sex with my wife, but one time I got lucky on St. Patrick's Day, but she was asleep.
Yeah. Well, no, he said she was half asleep.
And then she was like, well, actually, she was fully asleep.
Yeah, and then he admitted, no, she was fully asleep. That's right. Right. Inappropriate. Probably that would be cancelable now, yeah.
That's very cancelable. That's just wrong.
That's inappropriate. Yes, that's true. Funny joke, though. But yeah, I can see where that's not okay.
I'm shaking my head.
You're shaking your head in disgust and embarrassment of your father. Keep going. It's funny, though. It's funny. Go ahead.
And then the last one was, I thought that they were just kind of using the third daughter as like a joke.
Like calling her like the ugly one.
Yeah.
So Rob is ugly. He's an ugly dude. He's short. He's not very handsome. He has a funny haircut. And so him having two beautiful daughters was like, what? Or how is that possible? Like, usually, your daughters kind of look like you a little bit, right? And then his third daughter looked like him. And so they're like, oh, that makes more sense. But they made fun of her for being the ugly one, for sure.
Yeah. They were she wasn't, like, it would have made sense that she had two beautiful daughters for, like, some of the story, right?
Yeah.
But, like, they didn't need to add her to just, like, make fun of her.
Exactly. She, as a character, all she was to be made fun of.
And it wasn't even, like, her face. Like, it wasn't, like, stereotypical ugly, like, in the movie. Like, she didn't have a unibrow or anything. She was just not as skinny as those girls. Didn't have, like, the same body as those girls.
And the hair.
Yeah. And it's like...
Actually, the actress is really pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, just because she doesn't have the body of a supermodel and, like, the exact body of those other girls, that means she's ugly when she's, like, still a pretty model.
I'm going to go with... I like the point that the only reason she's a character in the movie...
is to make fun of her.
Is to make fun of her. Yeah, no, 100%. And so that's messed up, right?
Yeah.
And a cast of, like, almost 20 people was just a gag. You're right. Yeah. It's not appropriate. I don't think it would be made today either.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of, like, not really necessary at all.
Yeah, I think maybe that was taking it too far.
Yeah.
Because that's the kid. And she's only there in juxtaposition of her sisters. And,
yeah. And then it's also, like, comparison.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like, comparison's, like, such a bad thing and, like, toxic thing in media and everything. And it's literally just showcasing it.
Right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Does it pass the Bechdel test?
I'm actually not sure. Because it seems like it would, but I don't remember a scene where it would.
There's a lot of scenes where they're just chatting with each other. So I want to say it probably does pass the Bechdel test.
Well, let's go over it.
All right. Bechdel test is a test to check about female representation.
In movies?
There are 3 criteria. First criteria is are there more than 2 named featured females?
Yes, there is. Actually, I don't know any of their names, but there is
Sally, Roxanne. There's a bunch of them, yeah.
all of their wives. There's also like their children. There was a lot of daughters in it.
Mama.
Yes, the grandmother. So there was a lot of women.
All right. Do they talk to each other?
Yeah, they're all always like doing things together. They're all in like one lake house together.
Yeah, they're talking together all the time. And the third criteria is, do they talk to each other about anything other than just a man?
Actually, I think it does pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember 2 scenes where they don't talk about anything but a man. I was thinking the scene where they were sewing their basketball uniforms for them. But then they're like talking like, oh, we gotta finish these guys' uniforms.
Well, I think they're just talking about making stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely. I do think it passes as well.
And another scene, which was kind of connected to a scene with the guy, was when they were at the pool. And then they were talking about, like, let's show off our bathing suits, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is going to be so much fun. And then the guy comes in and they obviously talk about him.
Yeah, they were talking about...
But before that, they were just talking about, like, this is going to be fun. Do you like let's look at our bathing suits. And, like,
Gloria talks to them, too.
Out.
There's scenes where Gloria's talking to them about life and all these things. And then there's also a scene where they heal the baby bird.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a scene where they're feeding the baby bird and the little daughter's talking to the other mom. And so I think there's actually a lot of conversation. I think that's the reason why you didn't necessarily know the scene, because there was so many. They did talk the whole time. So
I did think, though, that there was a lot of scenes where there was a bunch of people talking and, like, involved.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because it's just, like, it's all together. All the families are smushed together. There's always, like, guys talking, or they're talking to guys, too.
Right. Yeah. All right. So it did pass the Bechdel test, even though it makes fun of women in a way, you know.
Even though it's slightly misogynist.
Definitely, yeah. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app.
We put out an episode every Monday. If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion.
And remember, it has to be PG-13.
Next week, we're watching Top Gun Maverick, so I hope you join us.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye!